Hello, hello, and welcome. I am Ben the Bold, and this is Victoria 3, where we have taken two Sicilies to become Italy, the Empire of Italy, and now we are looking to recapture some of our last territory that does not rightfully belong to the Italian state. Specifically, we are trying to take Lombardy and Venice. We did get Germany to join into our play. We thought we had an obligation with France. Instead, France has decided to backstab us, which we are going to have to deal with them about that at some point. But for now, I am most interested in let's go ahead and capture Lombardy and Venice away from the Austrians. And with that said, the France has actually decided to embargo us. I do wonder why they decided to just absolutely stab us in the back like this. I don't know. I'm going to try to get away with not raising my conscripts, especially because I am trying to pass National Guard. Now, ideally, I would have already passed that, but I had an expiring obligation with France that I was going to try to use. I'm going to set up my generals really quickly. Yes, that is Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon III. He historically fought several battles alongside Italians with against the Austrians, so this is kind of right up his alley, I guess you could say. Let's go ahead and make sure that we don't have any military goods shortages. We do. So let's first... Alright, it might behove us to build some munitions plants. Actually, these are... No, they are full... Oh, let's go to explosive shells. That should help us. Now, we might need to build some more explosive factories, but we seem to have a lot of those. As those kind of rocket up, I think munitions... Alright, yeah, now we have plenty of munitions. That's good, at least until we raise our conscripts. Can we... Germany is fighting with us. So I'm going to go ahead and import some German arms. Or actually, maybe I should leave German arms to the Germans and import Spanish arms so that Germany, well, can just fund their war. I wouldn't have minded giving Germany some extra territory, but they got involved just to humiliate Austria, which honestly is perfect for me, because I would also love to humiliate Austria. Because if we take a look, Austria is right above us in our power rankings. It does appear that Austria is worried. I am just going to do one more check to make sure there's no one I can sway. Yes, I can sway this little one province state. They have one soldier. I'm not... They would want me to transfer the state of Tuscany to them. I don't want to transfer the state of Tuscany to them just so that their one battalion joins forces. I do believe that the Austrians are on skirmish infantry, although I don't know. They're still on... Oh, they are on shrapnel artillery, so that is concerning. They have a technology advantage over us. They have also sent an agitator to restore traditionalism into exile. I'm definitely not going to ask him to join us. Let's take a look at their... So while they do have shrapnel artillery, it does not appear that they have it permeated through their military. That is, of course, good news for us. Also, despite having raised our troops, our economy is looking good. We are going to try to go ahead and just smash into the Austrian army. I don't know if it's going to be super useful, or if it's going to go super well for us. It does appear that the Germans are using shrapnel artillery, so that will hopefully give us a technological advantage, at least in this battle on this front. They are still using mobile artillery. I'm hoping that the German shrapnel artillery will just melt through the Austrian manpower. That is really, really the best bet I have. I am also researching shrapnel artillery or breech-loaded artillery, which would give me the option to unlock shrapnel artillery as a military unit. It would also lead to the hand-crank machine gun, which is something that I would be very interested in picking up. We'll see how long this war goes, though. Most of our wars have been pretty quick. However, we have not really fought a truly modern war yet. So, with that said, here we go. It does appear that Napoleon Bonaparte... Excellent. It does appear that Napoleon Bonaparte is going to push into Austrian territory and help the Italians take some Austrian land. We are taking a relatively similar casualties. We are a little bit worse off, however, that's to be expected. Their defense is way higher than our offense. We are suffering lots more demoralized soldiers, but again, we are on the offense. Napoleon, you picked a good tactic with careful maneuver, and now logistics secured good. They also picked a pretty good tactic. I did go ahead and lower the speed while we are fighting. It does appear that... Alright, Germany, all we can ask is that you use your superior artillery to shred through the Austrian manpower. I do need to get my navy involved before I get too far ahead of myself. Our navy is involved. We are convoy raiding. I don't necessarily know how many convoys we're going to have to deal with. Is that a navy from Brazil? Yes, it is. Should I send my navy to start blockading the Brazilian coastline? That would be something, wouldn't it? It appears that Germany has quite a sizable fleet as well, so I think we're in good shape. Oh, would you look at that? I mean, yes. Excellent. Germany. I am mostly going to focus in on the Italian front and just hope that Germany can absolutely crush Austria in the north. Again, Germany's only asking for a humiliation here, which, hey, I am happy to humiliate Austria too. Really, them asking for that is exactly what I would want as well. And Napoleon Bonaparte is going to win his first battle. Excellent! Now, he has lots of experience fighting in the many, many French revolutions that he was a part of. Let's see, does he have any good... So he has Cruel, which is going to increase his kill rate. And I believe Ambitious, maybe? Yeah, as a commander, +5 army offense. Okay. Alright, he's facing off against an equal opponent, and once again, Napoleon Bonaparte seems that he, well, he did roll a poor tactic with broken supply line, but overall, it appears that we are in pretty good shape. Maybe we will be able to push in, and actually, maybe I should have asked for more. I am excited to get those war reps, though. That's going to be huge. Let's go ahead and increase our enactments chance. We are in a war now, so we want to increase the conscriptable battalions. We may need to, after all, conscript some soldiers to help finish this war. 672 enemy convoys sunk, where one of our convoys was sunk in the English Channel. Alright, Germany, I see you. Italian nationalists seize Parma. Inspired by calls for the establishment of a single Italian nation, nationalist rebels have seized Lucca and pledged themselves to the unification of Italy under the banner of... Perfect. We welcome our brothers and sisters. We gain some infamy, which isn't necessarily great, but we finally have control of that last little Italian Minor, and hopefully we will have control of both Lombardy as well as Venetia or Venice very soon as well, with only some Istria as well as South Tyrol as the only other two kind of majority Italian provinces that do not belong to us. Does look like we are going to lose a battle here, however, it is what it is. We were on the offensive. Meanwhile, Napoleon is going to go 2 for 2 and win his second battle. Excellent. Now, I am debating calling in the conscripts. Our economy is looking really well right now. We are producing some serious artillery foundries in our private sector. We are... Well, the question is, are we winning on the German front? And honestly, I am a little concerned about that. Unfortunately, our German allies on the Italian front do not look like they're going to be able to win that. Would you look at this though? This is that German shrapnel artillery at work, and probably just a really good German general. About 5,000 men taking on an outnumbered foe. They are demoralizing them. They are having an increased casualty rate. Meanwhile, Napoleon once again with rapid advance. Now, at the start of the battle, he was only taking on about 4,000 men, so I'm hoping that Austria is already suffering from some manpower difficulties after all. Now, I don't know if they have called in their conscripts yet. Yeah, it would appear so. Yeah, it would definitely appear so. Let's make sure that we are, in general training in both of these. That should have happened already. Let's go ahead and go to Powers of the Purse. These are all things that I probably should have done ages and ages ago, including standardized filing. Yeah, I gotta stay on top of these production methods. We can go ahead and get steel trams. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And would you look at that, it looks as if unrest is being fomented in the Austrian territory. This is looking to be I'm not going to say successful war yet. After all, Napoleon is trying to regain the offensive, but it does appear that he is going to lose his first battle of the war. That is okay. I don't think Austria has actually lost any territory yet, although, yes, they have. Germany is pushing into Austria as a whole. They are trying to cut off Bohemia by capturing Austria, the Austrian state capital. They have, it does appear like they have already taken control of Vienna. This is disastrous for the Austrians. The question is, will we be able to push on the Italian front? It does appear, at least Napoleon is doing a controlled retreat, so while he is going to lose, at least he's going to recover some of that manpower. Once again, I am trying not to call in my conscripts. I am trying to pass National Guard. I do have reserves that I can turn to if I must, some manpower reserves that I can turn to if I must. I think Austria, though, will find that it is harder to do that. Now, it might have behoven me to go ahead and just try to push in with all the manpower I have. And in fact, if I take a look at the manpower of my armies, we are starting to... No. So I have one defensive army. This army is purely on the defense. It has a ton of infantry. It is kind of my holding army. Whereas I have two generals pushing forward, but they are running out of troops. So I may go ahead and call the conscripts for that specific army, although it may not matter, as Germany is absolutely starting to steamroll Austria in the north. They're going to try to capture Bohemia. Once Bohemia is captured, Austria is going to lose just so much of its industrial base, so much of its power, really. And we will be in a much better shape. Now, Austria has been cut off from Bohemia. I do think that that means that they are going to really struggle to not only reinforce some of their troops, but also resupply their troops, meaning that it might be time to go ahead and push in with our infantry, although I do hesitate. I do enjoy having some reserves. We do have the wedge in academia. With the rise in discontent among the academia, a new, proudly nihilist leader of the intelligentsia has come to the fore. So we can keep it is Urbanio Caprilio. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to say perhaps he is simply a product of our actions. So we are starting to lose some battles trying to push in to Lombardy and Vienzia, but Austria can't sustain this. And again, all Germany wanted was a humiliation CB. This afternoon, Costanza Campagna, leader of the petite bourgeoisie, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of National Guard. That's good, because after all, we may need our National Guard, especially because I am starting to worry about potential conflicts with France in the future. I am actually going to go ahead and I think, no, you know what? I'm going to decrease my taxes a little bit even more. What a weird, considering where we have been in this playthrough economically, what a good state that we are in, that I feel comfortable actually reducing taxes in the middle of a war while I have my armies called up. We did get the inefficient agriculture, as we've gotten this many times. I'm just going to go ahead and follow the industrialist advice. Coronando, Varenzia, and Enrico have found themselves in a spontaneous and public argument about the merits of their respective ideologies. Coronando comes to a victory over his opponents. Enrico clearly possesses the stronger arguments, or they have potential. They both have potential. I think, listen, Corradino has played such a big role in our development in recent years that I do actually think I'm going to select this, just because I think that he would win because he has that experience. So I'm going to go ahead and say that. I don't think Austria can hold. I do think they can hold on the Italian front, and I don't necessarily love that a huge army of almost 45,000 Brazilians are here. However, I do think that as time goes on, if we can keep chipping away at their manpower in Italy, the real fighting is happening here in the north against the Germans. They're going to have to pull troops away. They're going to have to pull troops away. Otherwise, I mean, they're just getting, they are getting overrun. They are absolutely getting steamrolled by our German allies. This is what we were really hoping for in the first war that we fought against Austria. We will see if we can get the victory, although I am already seeing that they are, well, I thought that this army was being moved to what I'm going to call the northern front. Part of me wants to take my holding army, my defensive army, the army that is protecting the homeland, and invade southern Austria or northern Italy with it, because Napoleon is really starting to, I mean, he's just clearly outnumbered. He's not outmatched, he's outnumbered, and that is his problem. So I'm actually going to, yeah, I think, oh, we do have another event. Red Revolution, yellow headlines. Interesting. Newspapers sympathetic to the interests of the armed forces have printed numerous stories about the revolutionary desires of communists in Italy. The articles plant lurid depictions of strikes and planned terrorism. Okay, we must get this situation under control, in which case we get support for militarized police force as well as dedicated police force. Do we not even have dedicated police force yet? I don't think we do, because our laws have been so restrictive for so much of the campaign. But now that we are in the 1880s, we are going to have to start liberalizing a little bit, even if that does mean losing some control. Now, how old is my character here? He is 72 years old. He probably doesn't have much long for this world. He is an alcoholic, so I could potentially see his kind of grip on the country starting to falter. His son has expensive tastes. His son is a traditionalist commander as well as a bandit. I could actually make him a general and put him in charge. In fact, that might be a good way to go ahead and build up some of his traits. However, I just don't see him as necessarily the same powerful ruler that his father is. We will see if perhaps this country starts to falter to things like communism, or other forms of more left-leaning governments than our far-right absolute empire. I'm going to go ahead and say, though, that this man, he is our strong leader. He is a very strong leader. We must get this situation under control. Breech loading artillery has been unlocked. I am going to go ahead and press the button to mobilize some shrapnel artillery. And in that, should I go ahead and get hand crank machine gun? That would increase my army defense as well as plus 5% kill rate. Or perhaps modern nursing is the better option. Now, I haven't really played around with the mobilization options too much. That is something that I would look to do. As well, the electric telegraph minus war exhaustion from casualties, that could help me stay in a long war. Of course, enlistment offices. Now, I just think that it would just kind of be natural that, hey, we're in the middle of a war with Austria, so even though it may be better to jump into like the society tree, we're in the middle of a war with Austria. We see the writing on the walls. We know we might need to enlist our conscripts, so we went ahead and went with enlistment offices. Looks like Germany is going to, at least it looks as if at the moment they are going to win this battle. What I am asking for is just to deplete the Austrian manpower. Although I might need to hold, unfortunately, and just go much more on the defensive on the Italian front, just because I'm flat out of troops here. National Guard has successfully gone to the adoption phase. Perfect. Our convoy rainers have destroyed 109 enemy convoys in the Mediterranean. I really do think that the Austrians, they just can't supply them. They just can't keep the supply up. As well, the Brazilians are currently trying to supply their armed forces via these two trade routes. And, I mean, they just can't. So, there is going to be, I believe, some quiet on the Italian front at the moment. If I start to see Austria moving some of their soldiers, then I may make another push, this time with my more defensive army. But at the moment, I do think that I'm just going to try to let their manpower slowly recoup. Especially as Austria really has no reprieve. Alright, we've got the war Brazil has decided to peace out. In fact, that might mean that it is now the perfect time to advance. Let's see. Okay, this army is mostly infantry. This army is mostly infantry. Our army is also mostly infantry. Let's go ahead and move to shrapnel artillery. And let's see, do we have anyone with any good offensive traits? Doesn't look like it. Let's experienced diplomat. You're no help, not helpful. Shell shocked. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I think that means I... Alright, this guy just needs to go. Retire that commander. Yeah. And then you have Woodland Combat Expert. Okay, I don't think we're in the woods here. Surveyor. Yeah, so he's very good for defense. Let's see. Anyone still defensive strategist? Open terrain commander as well as ambitious. Let's do it. And we'll put you on advance front. Alright. Our defensive army is now going to go on the offensive. Partially because I just think we are in a situation where we can't. And after all, we don't want the Germans to do all of the fighting. We are brave Italians. We can help. Marching against peace, protesters inspired by the fierce rhetoric of Napoleon Bonaparte III have carried out a march in Rome calling for military intervention against the communist regime of the Ionian liberal revolt. We must save the liberal revolt people from themselves. Honestly, I think that could be fun. I have appreciated everything that Napoleon has come and done for us, so I think I will probably do that. Or I could say the people's energies are best spent on something more productive. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And I might go to try to do a change regime casus belli on. Although I don't. Can I actually declare war on a revolt? All right, here we go, and we are successfully pushing. Now, Napoleon's army is resting, but we are successfully pushing into northern Italy. We are losing a lot of men, though, because infantry are better on the defense than the offense. Yeah, we'll have to see. Although Germany is also pushing. And with that, folks, the end of an era has come to pass. Our ruler, King of two Sicilies, Emperor of Italy, has died. His son, Francisco di Bourbon, has now taken over. His son is also not popular. His son has expensive tastes. Let's take a look at what that actually means for us now that he is the ruler. It means that we are losing some taxes. Great. He's wrathful as a ruler. That means we get more authority, but 20% movement radicalism. All right, interesting. Okay, I think that we might see some new ideologies forming with them increasing their radicalism. He is very traditional. He is a royalist. He wants to hold on to power. We will have to see if he can hold on to power, though, as well as if he can finish his father's ambitions of taking and holding the rest of the natural Italian lands, the Italian lands in Austria. Now, we are winning this war. I do wonder, I want all of these things. And it does appear like they would go ahead and accept that. I don't see any reason to waste more Italian and German and yay, even Austrian lives. So I am going to go ahead and propose that peace deal, and we will see. Yes, indeed. We have humiliated them. We should now be getting some war reparations from them. And, of course, we have most importantly expanded our territory. Now, we haven't completely taken over Italian Austria. I would still be interested in taking South Tyrol, although at this point it is mostly South German, so I may actually pass on that. And I would be interested in trying to free some of the people in some of the northern Italians in Istria. However, I think for now we should be extremely happy that we have taken the two northern Italian states in Venice as well as Milan, Lombardy. Something else that's really important is if we go down here and check it out, sulfur mines. We have plenty of sulfur mines, but do you know who now does not have any sulfur mines? That's right, Austria. Austria is now sulfurless. That is going to severely restrict their ability to wage war at a high level unless they can get some lucrative trade, perhaps from me. With that said, though, we have taken Italy. Now, I may try to do another war for Istria. However, we have taken Italy, and it is now time for us, in the latter half of the game, to start looking around and seeing, well, what else should be rightfully Italian? I wouldn't necessarily mind dipping into Egypt, having some Balkan ambitions, and of course, we are going to have to worry about this threat down, yes, in the lowly Ionian Islands. Communism has taken root. Will it spread to Italy? Will we stomp it out? We will have to see. But we will have to see in our next episode, as it has been about half an hour, and I usually like wrapping things up around here. I'm Ben the Bold, you've been you, and I hope to see you on the next one.